All right, hey everybody. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to cut your own hair. I know a lot of you have had to do this over COVID or whatever, or you just want to know how to do this. I have been cutting my own hair for probably 22 years now. So I've become very good at it. I've been doing it for a long time. In fact, I've actually only had one haircut from someone else in the last 22 years. And that was right before I got married because my wife wanted me to have a professional cut it and she messed it up. So I'm going to show you how I cut my own hair. So my first recommendation for you is to have a professional level. This is a expensive, like usually the professional level clippers are like between $70 and $150. They make a big difference, especially if your hair is really thick. Like mine's pretty thick, and a cheap like $20 clipper set doesn't really do it too well. But if that's all you have, you can do it and it'll be fine. It's just going to take a little longer. A nice professional clipper works a lot better. So I have a clipper set here, my clippers, and then I have tons and tons of these. Now when you buy a clipper set, it may not come with all the lengths you want. For example, this one is actually 1.5 inches, which is the max that I cut my hair, and then it goes all the way down to 0.5. So 1.5 is actually a number 12 hair clipper. So this is number 12. So this is how long I cut my hair. So the first step is to have clippers and all the lengths that you're gonna want your hair. And then we get going. So the first step, the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take two clippers and I'm gonna cut the top of my hair. Now the way that I cut the top of my hair, and I'm gonna show you how I do it, and I'll make it really messy here. I like my hair dry. Some people prefer to wash it and have it a little damp. I prefer it dry as long as it's not like sticking up everywhere. So if it is sticking up everywhere, I will wet it just so it's like nice and kind of even. What I have here is I have a number 12 and a number 10. Now I'm gonna cut my top with the number 10, which is 1.25 inches, and do my bangs with the number 12, because usually you want your bangs just a slightly longer than the rest of the top, or it kind of looks kind of funky. So let's do it. So I'm gonna plug my clippers in, and this is actually, I'm replacing an old clipper set. So this is a brand new hair clipper that I've not used before. This is the Wall Sterling 9 professional clipper set. It ranges from like $70 to $100. All right, so we're ready to begin. I got my clipper plugged in. So one suggestion, normally when I'm doing this, I usually don't have my shirt on and I have towels like all over my bathroom. Or if it's in the summer, like it's winter right now, I might actually clip my hair outside so that it's much easier cleanup. But since I'm doing this for a video, I've got my shirt on, I'm inside my bathroom, and that's just how this is happening. So, all right, so let's get started. So my first step is I'm gonna put my longest clipper on and I'm gonna do my bangs. And notice how like my blade here, I can actually move it. I usually always keep it all the way down. If I put it up like this, you can see the blade moving like this little handle here on the side. This just makes it longer or not longer, adds a little bit of length. All right, put my clipper on. Turn the clipper on, you can hear it, and right now I'm gonna do my bangs. That's step one. And I'm gonna I bend my head over because I do have a towel under me because I want the hair just to fall. One of my concerns always is cleanup. And notice how I'm not like, this is my longest that I'm cutting anything, so I don't necessarily have to pay attention so much to being even or anything right now, because this is the longest I'm cutting. So it's pretty much impossible for me to mess up. And that covers my bangs. That's all it was. So let me show you how long the hair was. So here's some of the hair. You can see that I cut off a good solid, like about inch and a half of hair. So that's what I'm cutting. One of the things I do when I do cut my hair is I always do everything twice. Now with the good clipper set, you almost don't need to do it twice. Once is almost enough. But with a bad clipper set, you might need to go over things 3 times. Because what you'll find, and you might not see it right away when you cut your hair, is you're going to see little pieces sticking out that your clippers missed. All right, so I did my number 12 on my bangs. Next step is number 10, which is the rest of the top of my hair. So now I do need to be a little careful that I don't cut my bangs. I just want to cut the actual top. So I am going to be looking straight into the mirror as I do this, just to ensure that I don't mess up. But even this is pretty hard to mess up because I'm simply just avoiding my bangs, but cutting everything else. And you can see, like, when the hair piles up, I'll actually push it down a little bit onto the ground. Perfect, I think I'm done. And notice how like a good clipper has like a nice handle on the side here. Like this really does help you hold it, especially when you're looking in the mirror and doing this yourself. All right, so I have my top done. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go over everything again just to ensure that I have it. I like to do a second pass. And I'm just going to go over and do my bangs once again, and the top of my hair will be done, and then it's time for the hard part, which is the sides and the blending. Alright, the top is done. My hair looks kind of goofy because it's just not the way I normally have it. Like my top and sides are the same length, and that's not how I like it. But that's completely normal, and everything's going as planned. So now what I'm ready to do, I'm going to clean off my little, the head a little bit. I'm just going to take my finger and I'm just brushing off the hair like this, just a little bit, just to clean it up. And now I'm going to do the sides. So one of the tricky part about the sides is figuring out how long do you want it. You know, sometimes I like my hair to be really short and I'll do like a number 1 or 2. And sometimes I like it a little longer and I'll do like a 4. So it just depends what I feel like doing at the time. So let's think, what do I want to do today? I think what I'm going to do, you know, it's winter, it's not really summer, I'm not sweating a lot from my hair right now. It's just more or less a little too long and bothering me. I think I'm going to do an in-between and I'm going to go with a 2. So I'm going to find my number 2, put my number 2 on, and I'm going to start my sides. Now the sides are a little different because it's not like the top where I just go and kind of do everything. I have to be careful because what you can see here is my number 2 is going to go to just a nice line. And there's no like, hey, it has to be right here. But I kind of pick a line that's pretty much straight and it's going to go all the way around my hair. So my number 2 is going to be like these first, you know, from right here to a nice line right here because this line's where the blend's going to be. So I'm going to take my number 2 and I'm just going to kind of do all the way around. Now this is where it starts to get tricky. So here's a tool that you need to do this. And this is the last tool and the only thing you need besides your clipper set. A mirror. Because when you're cutting your hair yourself, what you do when you're cutting the back of your hair is you actually have to turn around, look into this little mirror, and use the mirror behind you that I'm using. So you're using both mirrors to actually see the back of your head. Now the first time you do this, it's going to be a little awkward, so I would maybe not do as long. So one trick is the shorter you cut your hair, the easier it is to mess up. So what do I mean by that? I mean, like if I do like a skin or number 1, you can see the clear line right here because you can see the color of my hair. But if I use like a number 2, 3, or 4 right here on the sides, it's much easier to do the blend because you can't see the errors. It hides your errors much better. So right now what we're going to do is I'm going to do my sides. You're going to get to see me do my sides and back. I'll start out looking, because I start out doing my side, just looking in the mirror like this, but then I've got to turn around, use my mirror to do the back. And right now I'm not making anything perfect. Right now is not the touch-up. Right now is I'm cutting this of a length of a number 2 and that's it. So pretty easy, pretty quick to do. So here we go. I'm not worried about the hair behind the ears just yet. All right, so look, you can see that I've cut just a nice line right there with my number 2. I'll go over it again just to make sure I got everything. It seems pretty good. Do it again, the other side, and then we do the back. All right, so we've got the sides both done. Time to do the back, the hard part. And it's really not difficult. It's just harder because you are using the mirror, and you'll be able to see me do it. I'm gonna get some of the hair on my bottom here, on the towel that I have down. All right, so I've got it cut. I'm gonna do like a couple, so I did all upward motions there because I kind of try to go the opposite way of my hair. I'm gonna do a couple down and side just right here because my hair is, the way my hair grows is a little awkward down there. Same thing happens to my kids. So what I do is I just kind of, I'm just trying to get any extra loose hairs is all that I'm doing right now. I'm going to go touch that up later anyway, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of making sure I didn't forget anything in this lower area. All right, feels good. Looks terrible so far, but that's what it's supposed to look like. I got a bowl cut. I actually had one of these when I was in 5th grade. I had a nice bowl cut just like this. Okay, so we have our 2 done. Now what I need to do is I need to do the first round of blending here. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take a number 8 and I'm gonna start blending this top with what this is gonna be right here, because it's gonna go, you know, I used a number 10 and 12 here, a 10 on the top really. It's gonna go 10, 8, 4 into the 2. And I just kind of picked those numbers arbitrarily. It really depends how you're trying to cut your hair, what your hair is like. You know, so much of cutting your own hair is your hair really curly? Is your hair really thick? Is your hair really thin? Is your hair really straight? And you learn to do it based on the style that you want and what your hair is actually like. So my hair is really thick, but my hair is also very straight. So I need a certain, you know, my clippers, I get clippers that can cut that kind of hair really correctly. But like some of my kids, some of them have thick hair, but it's really curly. So you need a different kind of clipper. Same with like if you're cutting your animal's hair, it's, you know, you have to get a certain clipper for the type of hair they have. And it's the same thing with people. Everyone has a different kind of hair. So you need a different kind of clipper for that. If you go to a good barber, they're gonna have multiple clippers there. And you're gonna be like, well, why does my barber have multiple clippers or hair cutting place? It's because they look at their client and they say, okay, my client has this kind of hair. This is the kind of clipper I need for them. All right, so we're gonna take our number 8 and I am gonna cut everything. So I did this top with a 10, everything around that top. So a nice circle like that, I'm just gonna do with my number 8. I'm gonna go right up. It's gonna be my first blend, and this one is really hard to mess up. So I just kind of, I don't even hardly need my mirror except for the back. I'm just shortening this side hair, so and I just want to, as soon as I see I'm cutting the top a little bit, that's when I know I'm at the right place. And there isn't really anything in the back to cut, because when I did my back with my number 2, I kind of go almost all the way up. All right, my 8 is done. Now it's time to do my 4. The 4 is the big blend. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna have to go 4, 2, 4, 2 a couple times to get the blend just right, but it's really easy. Let me show you how I do it. All right, I've got my number 4, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the blend. So when I do the blend, you know, some people use like scissors, like the haircut place uses scissors. And look, they're professionals, they know what they're doing. I've taught myself how to do this, how to find the right way. So when I do the blend, what I do is I do 2 things. One is I might go up and pull out a little bit. So like, almost like this, like up, pull out. to cut away from the hair to do a blend. And the other thing I do is I'll actually angle my, let's see if I can show you an angle here. So instead of cutting directly against my head straight like this, I'll actually turn the blade a little bit so that I'm cutting, you know, the shortest end here and longer up here. So I actually create just a little bit of an angle, like that. Just like that. And it'll cut a nice, you'll start to see a blend right away. So let's take a look at what it looks like right now. And I'm going to do both sides, and then I'm going to do the back. And I'm not doing anything particular here. I'm just basically cutting that line away. And this is really just the power of multiple sizes. I'm not doing any blending, anything in particular. I'm not I'm not moving the blade any special way right now. All right, we've done it. Okay, now take a look. Look how much better. It almost looks blended in, right? It's not yet. We got to use our number 2 to make it perfect. But look, just for me taking the 4 and putting it right over, nearly completes it. Nearly completes the mission. Now guess what? My last steps, do this number 2, shape up the ears, check for errors with the mirror, and I'm done. I'll do the back of my neck too with a shaver. Just looking for my number 2, not realizing that I had it down on the ground. Okay, number 2. Now we're doing the blend. So this is probably the time that I'm the most focused, because this is where I can start to really mess things up. And just remember, if you mess things up, worst case scenario is I'm shaving my head. So I always have a backup plan when I'm doing this. All right, so I'm using my number 2. And notice when I do my number 2, now I am actually angling this a little bit to do it correctly. And as I said, I could just go up and kind of pull it away, but I'm starting out by just doing the angle. This is where a good clipper set matters, because if you don't have a good clipper set, you are going to have to pull away. And that's pretty much perfect already. A little air right there, which I'm just going to fix. Time for the back. And my back is pretty good already. I've got to kind of like look to the side in the mirror to like get the right angle. Yeah, this is done. I'm good. My hair is cut. Now all I got to do, I checked for errors already. I don't see anything glaring. Sometimes when I get out of the shower, I'll see like a piece of hair sticking up and I'll clip that. But now it's time for my ears, which is very easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get a number 1. You know what? I'm going to use a number half, a 0.5, do behind my ears. What I'm going to do is all I do behind my ears, I just use like, I'll show you. I just use like the first little bit of the clipper to clip some of the hair behind my ears. So I just use the first little bit. So I'm really, really angled when I do my ears. I pull my ear down. That's it. You don't really want to mess up there. Wouldn't be fun. All right, so that's it. That's all I use this clipper for. So now it's actually time for me to transition. Now I like to use a different clipper set. I have a clipper set that is actually made for like your beard, your hair, your back of your neck, and so I use that. This is a Philips Norelco. It also collects hair in here, which is really nice when you shave your face. As I'm just using a regular like shaver. You could use any kind of shaver to cut, you know, just to make it clean right here and to do the back of your neck. You can use this as well. It's fine. I just prefer, since I have this, I'm going to use it. All that I'm doing right now is just cleaning up, making sure these lines are straight. Yeah, that's good. Ears are done. Now I'm going to do the back of my neck. Back of my neck is the most challenging piece, in my opinion. A lot of times I'll have my wife or someone help me with that part. But I'm going to do it myself so you guys can watch it. And that's it. I'll be done. So let's get to it. Back of my neck, I got to use the mirror. And I really got to look. And it's hard to kind of make sure it's even. Notice how I switch hands. You got to be able to use both hands to do this. I switch hands a lot. I can use both my left and right hand, but the first few times I did this, I really did mess it up. So, you know, make sure you're really concentrating and just checking for errors, and you'll fix any of those problems. Perfect. So I messed up a little bit, so you're going to get to see how I fix an error. I just cut a little too high. So all that I'm going to do in the back is just make my line just, you know, a millimeter higher than normal. All right, just gonna wipe my neck. That's it, I'm done. I've cut my hair. It's cut, it's the way I want. I'm gonna shake it a little bit onto this mat and I'll show you. So that's it, hair's cut. You can see it's much shorter before and after, it's blended. Yeah, and the thing is, like, once I get out of the shower, I can check, like, it looks like maybe I could use a little blend right there, but you know what? That's kind of where I need to get in the shower. When I get out, I'll check that, because sometimes my hair just sticks up a little funky in weird ways, and it'll actually look blended perfectly once I get out of the shower. So, yeah, that's good. I mean, I've cut my neck, I've cut everything. Normally this takes about 15 minutes. It just takes a lot longer when I am talking through and showing each step and everything. But yeah, it's really simple. You know, it's something I can't even imagine the amount of money I've saved doing it, but that's not why I did it. I just did it because it was becoming a pain to go cut my hair all the time. To take the time, go sit, wait, schedule an appointment. It was like once a month or more, and it was just another thing I had to do. So I thought, wow, if I could just do this myself, it would be so much easier. And it really is simple for a basic man's haircut. I've cut many other people's hair since I've learned how to do my own, and yeah, it's really not too difficult. It's a matter of just finding your style and you know, really figuring out how to do it, but it is totally possible. So good luck, try it out yourselves, let me know how it goes in the comments, and good luck everybody.